It's a lovely morning and warm welcome to the program. Mule Ario is my name. They are the backbone of our economy, from the roadside tailor to the neighborhood tech startup. Micro, small, and medium enterprises account for 80% of jobs and a significant portion of Nigeria's GDP. Yet, despite their critical role, many SMEs face a silent struggle, the dilemma of access to finance. Across the country, entrepreneurs are brimming with ideas but locked out of growth opportunities by high interest rates, tough collateral requirements, and a financial system that often seems built for big players. So why is it so hard for the lifeblood of the economy to get lifeline they need? This morning will dive into the numbers, the policies, and the real stories and questions. Are banks failing small businesses? Are government interventions effective? And what must change to unlock the true potential of SMEs in Nigeria? Our focus this morning is SMEs and the access to finance. My guests are already here. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back with the ground on in place, do stay with us.
Hello.
Welcome back. Our just the program is today's business, and this morning we're taking a look at SMEs and how we can actually finance that sector of the economy. And I have today justice within me in the studio. I have Mr. Kufuborola Akinjo, an economist. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today again.
Thank you very much.
Let's also assess this sector of the economy. How would you describe it?
SME is, let me say, it's the brain boss of an economy. Let me use the word. And brain boss means a very important and sensitive part of an economy. The SME starts in the villages, in the towns, everywhere. So they are so important that we cannot do without them. In fact, they break starting from the distribution line. If you have a production, so they are the chain that distributes around and take it back to the people, and even when it comes to the income generation for the government, that's so essential. So, and when you look at it, for our GDP, essentially to create job, which has to do with security. So SME is actually creating, but they have created the largest job in Nigeria and everywhere in the world.
So according to statistics, it shows that 80% of job creation is from SMEs.
Yeah, I agree with you, in totality. So, and how do you describe a particular thing that created 80% job? So the job creation, which will create, provide security, and then vis-a-vis GDP, national income increment. So they are so essential.
So they are so essential, very critical to the economy, but yet they are also facing the challenge of finance. What do you think is also responsible for this?
That is global. That is, one, when you look at the challenges they face, what are the one is the interest rate, which is peculiar to Africa, Nigeria in particular. The collateral is also another condition, which is also a very big problem. But when you look at that, some of the business that have just started that require finance, I don't think it's good for us to start a business with loan.
Okay.
I don't agree with that. I think one have to start a business with the little you're able to save, or whether you get, then grow it to access loan. But a lot of people want to start a business with loan, which eventually the business will die. But having said that, I also want to look at why is it difficult for them to access loan, those that are already existing. I have a case in my hand that somebody wanted a loan, and they require a survey document, and the person doesn't have it. And the person, of course, I know have the capacity to roll the business and pay back. Then what would that person do? And if you come to me and ask me to give you my document, it's difficult for me to give it out. So the person will have to then wait work hard, get landed property for them to access loan. But note, which is very important, when you go for that, that means you have to take from the capital you needed more money for to go and buy a property for you to access a loan, which is not encouraging and it's killing the business. For me, the government and the financial institution have to look a way around it, whereby you have run your business for a year, 2 or 3, as the case may be, then pedal down on the collaterals, so that if your turnover is huge, whatever your turnover can carry, you give it out, and whatever activities that that the business transactions so far can grant. But I think when you go to financial institutions, and I think that's for the education this time, I think that is happening already in most of the commercial banks. It might not be in the microfinance institutions, but I think it's common now that they grant loan to.
We will soon come to what exactly the players of this sector of the economy should do to ensure that they remain in business. But in the course of also analyzing it, you mentioned survey documents. For those who are also listening to us or watching, what do you mean by survey documents?
Yeah, that is a landed property document.
Okay.
Some of them even demand for CFO. Why some conditions are based on, it depends on the amount you require.
Okay.
So they might demand for CFO. Some will just ask for survey documents. Either survey documents is after you have your receipts, then the government will give you a survey document.
Okay. So what exactly should the person also starting the business should do when you have also advised that they should not go for loan?
Yeah, you can't just come to it. You can. For me, you cannot say you want to start a business and you don't have a little capital, and you want to depend totally on loan to run a business. In fact, the business is dead on arrival. It's dead. So for me, one must start the business with the little you have and do the business for a while before advancing for loan. One, when you're just starting a business, you need customers. You must have a customer base before you require any loan. So if you are just starting, do you have a customer base? Do you have the market share? How do you now sell to now repay the loan? So for me, I don't advise that you start a business with loan. Rather, it is for business expansion that you require loan.
Okay, for the business expansion, would you say the interest rate is also encouraging?
No, it's not encouraging. Sincerely, the interest rate is not encouraging. I have argued that I think the interest rate is about 35% thereabout in the commercial bank, and it's about 50 to 60% in the microfinance institutions. So when you look at that interest rate, you can't survive the business, except you are doing extra black business that can pay back. And what I mean by extra black business, we have people doing bunkering and others. But if we are doing legitimate and legal businesses, the interest is difficult to pay back. That's what I see.
Well, let's also look at the issue of the interest rate. What would you advise that the government should also peg these interest rates? Because some people have also argued that there should be single digit. That has also been discussed more than 6-7 years, and yet we are still having a double digit.
For me, you see, it's just that we have failed policies. What we are saying here today, like one of my uncle always says, is it has been discussed, and a lot of people have said it. But government, through the CBN, have been releasing some money to support SME, and that is in public domain. But we still bother on corruption. Do the SMEs really access this money? And I tell you, the answer is no. Now, the attitude of the borrower and is also very important. Some of those that really needed the money didn't get it. So probably you have a brother, you have niece, you have nephew. Because you are opportune to be there, you tend to disburse the money to them and tell them to go and start business, or just go and register business and start even when they are not ready for it. One, there must be readiness from the part of those that want to borrow. So they must have been in it. And that is why most of those things, policies that CPN will start giving some money out, it fails. Because, one, the money didn't get to those that actually need the money. Two, those that eventually get the money, that actually are in business, see it as grants, even when some of them are loan. So that's why I thought about the attitude.
So they won't be ready to pay back.
Yeah, they are not ready to pay back because they tend to believe it's government. That's why the attitude of the people that are so borrowing. So the mindset is that anything that comes from government is free, it's grants. So I don't have to pay back. So that's it's also discouraging from the part of the citizenry. But the government does not. That's why I say fair policy. They have not also monitored to the latter to be sure, because we don't even have a database. We don't even know the number of those that are even doing SME. Come to Akure here. Can the government, can the Ministry of Economic Planning, can they tell us the number of SME that we have here? No, the answer is no, because they are not doing their job. We have State Bureau of Statistics. What is their job? Have you seen them coming up with reports about what's happening in the state, the policies, implementation and formulations? These are field part of the state. And now when you now come to, when you leave that, you now go to, you now want to discuss why would the single digit interest rates, can they work? It will work. The government can well release the money at that rate. But will I get it? Will you get it?
Release it to commercial banks?
To commercial banks. But the problem is, if they release it to commercial bank, will the commercial bank also do that with genuity, with reality? Or won't they also convert the money and start using it for other people? So I think corruption is another problem that we have to look at.
But we'll also come to government policies and interventions, but let's take a look at the inflation rate in Nigeria as we speak. Would you say it's also affecting that sector?
No, I think it's to the benefit of the SME people. But you know, when you have an inflation in an economy, the business people gains. You see, when you even have a loan, that you are running a loan, in fact, I pray I have a loan and there will be inflation. You'll be lucky, because the loan remain the value of the loan, while you, the borrowee, you tend to gain more. Now, how do I mean? You gave me a loan of 10 million naira, and eventually I am to pay back in 12 months, a year. And the price of television when you gave me the loan, because don't forget, money is what money can buy. So if the price of bag of cement when you gave me the loan is 5,000, and by the time after 2-3 months a bag of cement goes for 7,000 or 8,000, you know, I still have to pay you 10 million. Don't forget that I have the money. If I have invested it, if I've invested it to buy cement, my power to buy cement remains. That is, if I'm able to buy 1,000 bags of cement with that 10 million, that 10 million remains. But don't forget that I still have to pay you 10 million. So eventually, when I'm paying you 10 million, the money eventually is about it. That is, if it's 5,000, let me give you statistics now. If it's 5,000 times 1,000, that is 5 million. So then probably when you gave me the money, I'm able to buy 2,000 bags of cement with the money you gave me as a loan. And when I am to repay, that same it can be 2,000 times 8,000. That means that additional 6 million that I have gained. So what
about the interest?
The interest, probably the percentile interest that you have increased is infinitesimal to what I would have gained. So I tend to gain more as a business person. Why the person that gave me the loan is losing. So for SME people, they are lucky that there's inflation. But for ordinary person, and trouble.
That's also close to them.
Yeah, that's why you won't see. Presently now, you see that most of the market women, they are not complaining. They are not complaining. And
but the real producers are also complaining because of the exchange rate. They prefer to sell their products abroad.
No, the producers will be complaining, but the consumer and the producer will be complaining. But the line distributors, the wholesaler, the retailers, they are not complaining because it is what they buy, they sell. But the producer probably would have produced, sell it out, and accept some deposits, and he's bound to give it out, to give to the people, because I guess we take it to court, I paid. So probably after the producer have produced, accept some deposits, he wants to go and replace raw materials, then he's there, he's meeting another
So
person.
let's look at government policies and interventions. Would you say that, because I also know that successive governments had also tried to intervene in the issue of SMEs financing, would you say these policies and programs are actually working? Are they effective?
No.
Why?
I've told you that we have the attitude to it, one, is a problem. The attitude of ordinary Nigerians is a problem. Then the bureaucracy, or the, let me say, corruption as a whole is also the issue. That is why these policies are failing. Even rather than giving the loan out to those people, that the real people that actually need the money. I can give an example of on those microcredit agents. During the time of Mimiko, I think about 3 billion, 2 billion thereabouts was granted from the federal government to, so that they can give it out as loan. The repayment is poor as of today, because you can go there and ask. The repayment is poor, and who are those that got the money? Political associates, political friends. But the money was meant for SME, the market people. But how many market people got it?
But those who got will not even be ready to pay.
They are not ready because they don't need the money. When you give the money that was meant for people to go and do business expansion, was used to buy properties. Was used to buy cars.
That shouldn't be government's problem.
It is government problem.
So
because
how do we now grow the sector with that mindset?
We cannot grow it. That is why I said, quote me, it's on TV now. Let's Ondo State Microcredit Agency bring out the names of those that got the loan during the time of Mimiko. And let us assess their business, and let us know what the money was used for.
Maybe government does not even have mechanism to also do a follow-up.
The government, you see, when you are part of a corrupt system, which mechanism do you want to do? Are you saying that the chairman of that microcredit agency at that time doesn't know those people? They are political associates, they are friends. So it was given to, when you apply, go and apply and see if they will give you if you are in business. Some of them, because they have also gotten some percentile as their own. Some of them were given at the back, go and drop social amounts. So these are problems. It's a very big problem.
I also know that CBN and also financial institutions are also trying one or two things. They have windows of opportunities for SMEs that can also access. Yeah. Would you also say that their own policies and programs are also going the way of the state government?
You see, the CBN is one at the national level. So for me, the CBN would rather use the state institutions, and now that we have local government functioning, if truly there's autonomy, use the local government institutions to get to the people. But we have to be sure this money will go to the appropriate.
That is, even the state government or local government also have a database where they can also reach out to the original operators.
Who is going to have the database? Those people that are just interested in their pocket and their family. After making the money, move their family out of the country.
I don't think so. I also know that most of these associations, they also have database where they also relate with government. They have members.
Those associations that actually have those members, they don't get this money. And those that get the money, okay, now we have different associations: timber association, weather association, mechanic associations. Those people are supposed to get money. Market women associations. No. Importantly, which is a problem, is now you become either you are in APC or in PDP. So even when they give to the market women, because you are in APC and PDP is ruling, you don't get it, even when you merit it. You can see a case during the time of Osibajo, trade money 10,000. It was shared politically, even headed by a professor of law. We saw it is clear.
So with this, how do we grow this? How do we move forward? How do we ensure that that sector that also provides 80% of jobs for Nigerians, how do we move it forward?
I think the best is to start database at the local government level, collate the database, collate it at the state level, move it to the national level. So it think the database for those that are doing business genuinely, yeah, how many years have you been in business? It is not to come and tell me you are in business because they just want to run my register. If you want to get loan from LACPO, they ask you to bring your receipts, your rent receipt for the past 3 years. So those database are criteria for you to get it. You don't have a data, you don't have a rent that you have not been, that means you have not been in business for the past. So you cannot bring a rent of 1 year and say you want to come and access SME loan. So those criteria, we have the data, with functionality, the reality of them. If you are in business, this we discuss with you, and then we give you money for business expansion.
So how do we also change the mindset of those who believe that money that is coming from government is a national cake that must be eaten and not returned?
That is not in our generation. We can start preaching against that now, but I can tell you that cannot work now in our own time, because it is the corruption is even at the primary school level. So because a lot of people, this has been polluted already, even in a primary school child. So, and that's why I say it's not in our generation. So we have to start doing some work from unborn children now.
Not in our generation. So how do we grow the economy? How do we assist the SMEs? How do we ensure that that sector also grows and also?
No, we don't.
Why I'm saying
no,
this is that when you go to India, when you go to China, this is what exactly the bedrock of their economy.
If we want to grow it, I've told you that we have a database and we don't give the money to those that doesn't matter. We don't share politically. Those that are in business, if they are encouraged, then others will be encouraged to come to business. If you grant me 10 million because I'm doing my business very well, not that you grant somebody who's doing a business 10 million and the money will die there. So there will be a cyclical flow of money within, because I will repay, so the money can go to another party B. So by that, we are helping the system. So if the money move from me to B, from B to C, then it will encourage others to go and queue and then go and do their businesses rather than forming political jobbers around.
Could also be one of the reasons why the SMEs also go under within space of 6, 7 months, 1 year that they are established.
Because they are not ready for it. They are not ready. If you are serious, you see, a lot of people just want to business and rush out. As I say, you rush in, you rush out. But some people are genuinely ready to grant those people.
So how do we identify these genuine people?
That's why I said go to their history. At least you have been in business for 2-3 years, and you know the person is in business. Yeah.
So how does one sustain business for 2-3 years without money?
Yeah, of course, we did before the government loan will come in. You would have been getting small loan from cooperatives and the rest to sustain your business. Yeah, you can.
The last 25 minutes of the report, I've been speaking with Mr. Kofoworola Akinjo, an economist, and we're taking a look at SMEs in Nigeria and how you can actually finance it in the face of the challenge, the economic challenge in the country. And he has also shared his experience with us and what should be done as a professional on how to ensure that we'll get that sector up and running. I want to thank you so much for sharing your thought with us on the show today.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure having you. That's how it's going to be on the show today. Join us on Friday for another one. Kunle Ariyo is my name.